Morning decisions. A creamy mocha frappuccino drink? A sweet vanilla? Maybe a smooth caramel? Or that white chocolate mocha? Whichever you choose, delicious coffee awaits. Start your day with bottled Starbucks Frappuccino drinks. Pick up a bottle near you wherever you buy your groceries.
This is The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
They're running a strange program, y'all.
Now, here's Frank Morano.
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. Very, very pleased to be joined in studio by one of my, you know what? I'm not even going to say one, but maybe my favorite comedic in-studio regular contributor to this show, the one and only Fred Rubino. Hello there, Fred.
Thank you for having me. I noticed that the rank there was my favorite in-studio, Italian, exactly. Short, over 60.
Between the age of 59 and a half and 62. There were a lot of qualifiers there, that's for sure. All right, there's a lot that I want to go over with you this hour. We're going to chat in just a minute with Elliot Gordon. He's going to join us, and then we're going to chat a little bit later with Noam Laden and get his take on what's in the news. Let me begin with the news regarding comedy, which seems to have so many people up in arms or at least having an opinion. And that's based on what happened at that Trump rally at Madison Square Garden last weekend. You weren't there, were you?
I was not there.
You were not there. Okay.
I wasn't invited.
Yeah. Well, apparently a lot of people are wishing that Tony Hinchcliffe could say that same thing. So Tony Hinchcliffe told this joke that a lot of people found offensive. Let me play it, not for any shock value, but just in case you're one of the 3 people on this planet that hasn't heard the joke by this point. This is what Tony Hinchcliffe had to say.
I don't know if you guys know this, but there's literally a floating island of garbage in the mission right now. Yeah. I think it's called Puerto Rico. Okay. All right. Okay.
12 seconds. Honestly, my take on that joke was pretty similar to Jon Stewart and kind of him being there, which is that it really wasn't funny and probably politically not the best thing. But ultimately, it's just a joke. Here was Jon Stewart on his show on Comedy Central.
Now, obviously, in retrospect, having a roast comedian come to a political rally a week before Election Day and roasting a key voting demographic, probably not the best decision by the campaign politically. But to be fair, the guy's really just doing what he does. I mean, here he is at the Tom Brady roast a few months ago.
The great Jeff Ross, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff is so Jewish, he only watches football for the coin toss. Gronk, you look like the Nazi that kept burning himself on the ovens. Kevin is so small that when his ancestors picked cotton, they called it deadlifting.
Yes, of course. Terrible. Boo, yes. There's something wrong with me. I find that guy very funny. So, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, bringing him to a rally and have him not do roast jokes, that'd be like bringing Beyonce to a rally and not have... Oh.
Now, I didn't really find the Puerto Rico joke funny, but some of those other jokes I thought had their bits of humor. Give me your take on this. As a comedian, as a guy that's offended a person or two in the past, what do you think?
Well, I have offended almost every demographic, race, creed, and color, but that was at a club.
Mm-hmm.
And anytime I do a private gig or a function or a fundraiser, there's always somebody saying, don't say this, don't joke about that. And I think they should have told him that. But, you know, listen, everybody from Staten Island, when he said there's a floating thing of garbage in the middle, as soon as he said Puerto Rico, everyone in Staten Island went, woo, we dodged that one.
You're so right. You're so right. You're girding ourselves to be offended. That is for
and
sure.
how many garbage jokes has Staten Island gone through their whole life?
Yeah, no doubt.
You've never seen somebody go, I was offended at that. Where do you live? I live near the dump, but that has nothing to do with what I'm saying.
But so it sounds like you think people are making too much of this.
Of course they are. It's a comedy. It's a comedian doing comedy. It's supposed to be a little offense. I can't think of many jokes or many comedians that don't target someone or some group.
I want to bring in Elliot Gordon, who I don't know if you guys have met before, but Elliot Gordon is a great guy. He's an entrepreneur, former aide to Mayor Giuliani. He's a producer. He's a talent agent. Elliot, say hello to Fred Rubino.
Fred, I looked at some of your stuff on YouTube, and you are old school comedy. You are terrific.
Cable
sir.
must have been out.
It's Fred Rubino from Brooklyn, right? It's not.
Elliot,
thank you.
So we're talking about this situation involving the comic at the Trump rally. What did you make of this whole thing, Elliot? What we've talked repeatedly about. Kind of us being in an era where humor seems to be offensive for offensive sake rather than being offensive as part of being humorous. What was your take on what this the Tony Hinchcliffe joke itself and the ensuing controversy?
Well, they call him an insult comic. As far as I'm concerned, I find calling him a comic is personally insulting. I mean, this guy, he's not a funny man. He doesn't understand how to do the roast. I'm sure Fred will back me up when we say guys from a different era, guys that I represented, a man named Pat Cooper. He understood how to do a roast. Don Rickles, you do it with affection, and the whole idea is for the fact that it's comedic. Just to get up there and say an obnoxious, nasty statement, that is not comedy, Frank.
Do you think that ultimately hurts Trump at all?
I don't think it means anything. Mm-hmm. The idea, he's not that comics manager. He's not the producer. I don't even think he was in the building. But the idea, you know who it hurts? It hurts comedy in general. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I go into comedy clubs, I had mentioned to you many times that Shecky Green, when I spoke to him a few years ago, I said, Sheck, what do you think of the comedy clubs? He said, I don't like what people are laughing at. And you can't call Shecky Green a prude. He was a star on the Strip in Las Vegas for decades. But when you're going into these clubs, and I went into these clubs about 20 years ago, I came up with an idea for your buddy and my buddy, Jackie Mason and myself. We were going to co-produce a comedy show and have three funny girls. We're going to call it Two Yentas and a Shiksa. And the idea, I walked in, I'm looking for comedians, and I couldn't find one girl that I would feel comfortable putting my name or Jackie Mason's name on top of his producers. And one of the girls walked off stage. I said, why do you get up in front of 80 people and humiliate yourself? And she says, well, that's what the people expect. So the owner puts a lot of pressure on us to get up there and be very vulgar. I said, baloney. The only thing the owner wants is a room full of uproarious laughter. If you can't get it, put the mic back in the stand, walk off the stage, and go home. They don't understand what laughter means. And Frank, when I do my presentations where I show the clips of the comedians from that era and I share personal anecdotes of our conversations, you cannot believe the laughter I get from people in their 20s and 30s. They don't know who Alan King is, but they fall off the chair with laughter. It's called comedy, and now you have people out there, unfunny comedians.
And you know what? I always would see comics come off the stage after 20 minutes or 15 minutes and not get any laughs or horrible. And then they come off and you're like, hey, I thought I did pretty good. They're like delusional, some of them.
Well, let me ask you both. I mean, obviously a Trump rally is different from a standard political event because Trump is almost such a showman and, showmanship is a big part of what he's always done. Is it a mistake for political figures, including Donald Trump, to include comics as part of their political presentations? What do you think, Fred?
I think.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead,
Well,
Frank.
go ahead, Elliot.
Fred.
You started answering. Let Fred steal your answer. He was going to do that anyway. Go ahead, Elliot.
Okay. Yeah, I say yes. They don't belong there. The idea is comedians are loose, and Fred, no disrespect to you, but comedians are loose cannons. They're going to do their own thing. You can't tie their hands, and they're going to say the wrong thing. They don't belong at those situations. You know, Pat Cooper once told me, he said years ago, Bob Dole was running against Bill Clinton. He was way behind in the polls, and they were co-grand marshals at a Columbus Day parade in New Jersey. And he said, Bob Dole comes over to me and says, "You're Pat Cooper, the comedian. Tell me a joke." And Pat says, "You're going to win."
You know, I think you could be a comic at these things, but the event is to get votes and to maybe sway some people. So the comedian, his content maybe should have been complimentary and flattering instead of shooting people down, and maybe that way for the humor to maybe grab a few people. And to the credit of the crowd, they booed. So to the credit of the crowd,
a good portion of them, yeah, and there were a lot of groans there as well. Elliot, we've spent a lot of time talking about the various classic roasts over the years. I'm going to play a clip in a second of Don Rickles roasting Bob Hope. Set this up for us. What are we going to listen to?
Sure. Well, the Friars Club had started something called the Roast decades ago. And the idea was these were comics that were friends. They knew each other from Vegas and Florida and the Catskills in New York. There was an affectionate, I would call it like a spritzing of each other, like a ribbing that you would do with your buddy, all good-naturedly. That developed into Dean Martin taking it on television on NBC, and that's what you're going to see there. You're going to see Bob Hope. You know he knows Don Rickles for decades. Get a little bit of a couple of jabs into Bob Hope affectionately and with love and comradeship. So it comes across different. Also, Don Rickles, you know, he's short, he's pudgy, he's bald. You know, he could do that kind of humor. Dean Martin, being tall and handsome, couldn't make those comments. It would look very mean. So when it came out of Don Rickles, in his case, it was great. But now everybody's doing it, and it comes across nasty. So you're going to hear Rickles on a roast kidding with his buddy Bob Hope.
All right, folks, listen to this. Don Rickles roasting Bob Hope.
Now it's time to introduce the master of the insult, the only man who holds a black belt for hatred. Evel Knievel's next jump is his mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've had your rabies shots, because here he comes, Mr. Don Rickles.
Dean, I thank you for your wonderful introduction. You would love the evening if you knew you were here. We have so many great celebrities. Of course, I want to thank Neil Armstrong. Neil? Over here, Neil. You're down. Neil Armstrong, the great astronaut, said in the capsule, "Hey, man, this is the moon." But I kid you. You're a great hero. You've told me that time and time again. I want to thank Sugar Ray Robinson, who said to Rocky Graziano in the 5th round, "Hey, baby, you're hurting me." Sugar Ray is a great champion. Sugar, we'd ask you to talk, but you know the blacks, your lips locked. There's no booing. There's no booing. If there's another outburst, we're going to let Bob Hope get up and do his jokes. We kid about great stars such as you, Bob. Why? Because you're old and washed up. But I tell you this. Is he laughing, Dean? Take a look. See if Bob's laughing. If he ain't laughing, show him a picture of Jack. I'll tell you this. I kid Jack Benny, a great star, God bless him. Milton Berle, great people. This is wonderful being here at the home. And I say this from my heart. No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. Bob, it's a joke. I take it back. I say it. It's a joke. It takes many years to be a great comedian.
Sure does, and you ain't reached that year yet.
Thank you, Jerry.
I'm going to pause that there. Elliot, that was pretty good. You know, obviously Don Rickles didn't shy away from racial humor. I can imagine if that took place today, especially if it was on national television, there would be protests, there would be calls for boycotts. Why do you think it was okay in that era?
Because they didn't take themselves so seriously. We gotta loosen up. Everything isn't a negative. We've got to understand to laugh at a prejudice. You know, they said the great thing about those guys is they took ugly bigotry and ugly prejudice and they reduced it to a silly joke. And when you could laugh at it together and enjoy together, it pushes all the anger away. And now today, everything has got to be censored. Everything, you got to be careful what you say. It's terrible. They've taken the comedians and they've tied their hands and they've tied their mouths. We got to loosen up a little bit. Have some fun, not take ourselves so seriously. And Frank, when I do my presentations, I play those clips, and the people in the audience, they laugh and they laugh and they laugh. And I just want to mention I'm going to be doing one of those presentations at Theater in the Theater District on Monday night, July 13th, the AMT Theater, which is an off-Broadway theater. And I believe you're kind enough. You say you're going to join us that night.
Well, no, I'm going to be there January 13th, not July 13th.
Oh, January 13th. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said it wrong.
That's when you know you're not wanted. He tells you July when it's in January.
Then you know, then it's really 4:20 in the morning. That's what you know. But, Frank, you and I will be there, and the people will see those clips of the comics from that era that had fun with each other, that didn't have to watch what they said because it was done without any anger or animosity. And I'll be playing those clips and doing personal anecdotes of my stories with many of these guys, many who I represented. You'll be there with Ask Frank Anything, so it'll be an interactive evening, and it'll be officially at an off-Broadway theater Monday night, January 13th. So we want people to come down and experience.
Absolutely.
That generation.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Elliot, I have to run, but quickly, just tell people how they can get tickets to that if they want.
Sure. As of next week, those tickets will be up and available on Eventbrite. Just Google Frank Morano /Elliot Gordon, and this is officially an off-Broadway presentation.
All right.
It's going to be great.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to continue with Fred Rubino in a second. Noam Laden is here as well. He's going to break down the news for us. We'll continue straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
Thursday's the worst day, Friday's great, 'cause I can hardly wait until the weekend. I should be clocking in at 8, but I'm a little late. Can't pay my baby 'cause I took her on a date. 2 till 10, and then
This is The Other Side of Midnight. I'm Frank Morano. We are joined in studio by comedian Fred Rubino. You can check him out at fredrubino.com. Find out where he's performing and when. And the best newsman in all of radio, Noam Laden.
Stand by for The Other Side of Midnight's news.
From New York City, The Other Side of Midnight and its affiliated stations present national and international news with Frank Morano and news director Noam Laden. Their summary of the world news and personal comments. Get the rest of the story.
Hello, Noah.
Good morning, Frank. We're, I think, a little too uncomfortably close to each other today.
I like it.
You do?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
we can reach out and touch each other.
I feel like we could tell secrets.
We could. And there's so many secrets I have to tell you,
I
actually.
bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Now I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah, I bet you are. So, there's this woman who sent me an email, and I think she may have sent you the same email as well, and maybe many others, and I'm biting. I'm going to read it. So since both of you are here, I'll get your take on it. So she says, I'm a single woman in my 30s. I've never married, don't have kids, recently went back to school to get an MBA, and I'm wondering if I can create a happy graduation registry, similar to the same thing that people do when they get married or have a baby. And she says, I've, over the years, I've given all kinds of presents to married couples, happily so, to people who have commencements, all kinds of things. I've given away money, presents, and happy to do so. She says, and I don't mind it. But she says, is it my turn? I'm in my 30s to collect. Should I put up a registry now that I'm about to get my MBA?
I saw this article. I did not receive the email myself yet, but I get a lot of emails. Could be in my spam. This woman's being criticized by a lot of people. I love this. I think this is a great idea. I have said for years that everybody should have a perpetual gifts registry for everything. And you could do that now in the era of the Amazon wish list. So now, if it's your birthday, I don't have to risk either getting you something that you already have, something that you don't want, or just start doing a whole investigative process about what to get you. I can just go to the registry and say, oh, Noam wants a new pair of Ghostbusters socks like Tony has. I'll get that for him. I think this is a great thing. Why should registries be limited only to baby showers and weddings?
Yeah, well, she wants to collect, and she's going to go ahead and do it, by the way. But she was getting some flack from people saying, hey, MBA, you're in your 30s, give it up.
I think if, people are probably going to give a gift anyway, I think it's nice to have a registry, personally. At 30 minutes after the hour, this is The Other Side of Midnight. What do you think, Fred?
That's how you know how attractive you are. If you have that registry
right,
and you're not that attractive, maybe you get 2 or 3. But if you get flooded with gifts and guys want to really impress you, that's a good gauge to know how attractive you are.
Am I hot?
Am I hot? If she's hot, she's going to get so many gifts that she's going to do for everything. I was on the Frank Morano show. I have a registry now, and I want. By the way, I have a registry now.
How does this woman look?
I don't know. I didn't ask for a picture.
See, that decides. That's my deciding thing.
This is very lackluster investigative journalism.
It is, isn't it? It's pretty. Well, it's Friday, and I'm tired. Do you remember the website? It was in the early days of the internet, Hot or Not, and it was just you scrolled through men and women, and you either hit that they were hot or they were not.
But this was in like the late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. What else were people going to do? There was no YouTube. No. There was no Facebook. What else were people
And it was before filters.
Yeah. Right, it was before filters.
Now everyone's hot,
And then you had that moment of like, should I put up my photo just to see what people will say? Because that was the idea.
You never do that, did you?
Of course I did.
You did?
Yeah, it was constant. It was unbelievable how many hots I got. That's why I work in radio.
Hotornot.com. That really brings me back. My goodness.
I thought Kamala Harris might lose on Election Day, but now I realize that she has a good shot of winning, all thanks to a huge endorsement that she received yesterday. The entire cast of the Avengers got together yesterday to endorse Kamala Harris, and here's what their endorsement sounded like.
I think Kamala Harris needs a catchphrase.
Ooh, yes, definitely a catchphrase.
How about this? I'm just off the top of my head. I can do this all day. Shut up.
All right, I don't know what that's all about, but they went on for about 5 minutes. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson. Who else is in that movie? Anyway, they were all getting together for what was kind of a weird endorsement for Kamala Harris yesterday.
Look, I mean, again, I would say who cares, but who cares that Brett Favre is endorsing Donald Trump? I mean, once you get, who cares that Mick Foley's endorsing Kamala Harris?
Mick Foley is endorsing Kamala Harris?
Yeah,
That's shocking.
She brought him on board to counteract The Undertaker, Kane,
and
Hulk Hogan being for
You
for
can't trump Hulk Hogan.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Once you
Never.
get past Hulk Hogan, it's all over. What do any of these celebrity endorsements matter after that?
The robotics company Boston Dynamics releasing this new video. Remember, Frank, a couple weeks ago, we got a peek at this secret video that was released from Elon Musk that he's working on these robots that would be at home, that would essentially serve as maids. And in this video, it was fascinating to watch. The robot could be seen watering the plants. The robot could be seen playing checkers with the kids. I mean, it was really advanced stuff.
Yeah.
Well, now you start to see what is going to happen to some of these warehouse workers that are making, some of them pretty decent coin for companies like Amazon. This latest one from robotics company Boston Dynamics releasing this new video of its humanoid robot Atlas performing tasks in a warehouse. This robot can be seen driving forklifts. It can be seen picking up packages, putting them in the right place where they should go. It's fully autonomous. That's the part that's unbelievable about this. So it's making decisions on its own when it comes up to something that needs to make a decision whether to pick this up, put it down. It does it on its own. And it's unbelievable to watch. And so you get the sense, I mean, they're not cheap right now, but at some point, you get the sense these fully autonomous robots are going to replace all these people that are working in warehouses.
And everybody else in short order. I mean, I think, you did the story the other day about how AI replaced a whole radio station in Poland. I think we're getting to the point where no one's job is safe from being replaced by a robot or AI or a machine of some sort. We're all in trouble.
Yeah.
And the slower robots will be bought by the post office. So, take your time, robot.
If you're just tuning in, I'm Frank Morano. This is The Other Side of Midnight, chatting with Fred Rubino and Noam Laden.
You want one more?
Please.
Okay. An Idaho man. This is one of these. I give these to you once in a while. These really stupid Guinness Book of World Records
I love
breakers.
These. Please.
So,
I was one of these stupid.
Oh,
Guinness
you
Book
broke
of-
a record for
yeah.
being on TV the longest
Yeah,
or something?
it was 19 years ago, but yes.
And how many hours straight were you
33.
on? And has anybody broken that record?
Many times.
Oh.
It's like-
Robot.
it's-
The Frank Morano robot.
And he was way more entertaining,
Oh,
too.
Exactly.
yeah.
That's for sure.
But he leaked a lot of oil.
That's for sure.
There's an Idaho man. I didn't know there was a record for this, but of course there's a record for anything. How fast you can sort bags of M&Ms by their color. This is a record that's been broken time and time again. Every couple months, someone breaks it. The latest is this Idaho man who used his color coding skills to test and break a world record. So he was given a 17-ounce bag of peanut M&Ms, and he had to see how fast he could color code them. And I mean, this is a video you should put up on your Facebook page because it's out there.
That is a good idea.
He was able to sort all 17 ounces of these peanut M&Ms by color in 57 seconds. So
Whoa.
David Rush now holds the Guinness World Records title for peanut M&M sorting. He had broken the record, which had been up till then a minute 14 seconds. So he broke it by a lot. I mean,
Do you know what other record David Rush holds?
No. Are you familiar with David Rush?
He's been a guest. I've had him on the radio.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the other record?
If you name a record, chances are David Rush has broken it.
Oh, really? Okay.
David Rush, the most impressive record that he has is he holds more Guinness World Records than anybody else. He has broken over 300 Guinness World Records.
Huh.
For mostly stuff like this,
Right.
Which you didn't even know was a record. But he does this all. I really like this guy. I'm very impressed with this guy. This is how I could see myself if I had a little bit more time to pursue things.
Yeah.
He does this all to enhance STEM education or to bring awareness to STEM education. But he's got a whole bunch of records. He's got every record there is.
The M&M sorting, it looks like it's been sped up. That's how fast he's moving when he's sorting these M&Ms. But it hasn't. He's just unbelievably fast.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Go
The
ahead.
loser is that guy who had the peanut allergy. It was very sad.
Right.
But,
He had to do the regular M&Ms. All right. Thank you, Noam.
Of course.
Have a good weekend.
You too.
And now you know the rest of the story.
Fred, there are a bunch of other stories that I want to go over with you. First, You familiar? You're a resident of the state of New Jersey, right?
I am.
All right. The governor of New Jersey, Phil Murphy, was on television, and he was being asked about his support for Kamala Harris. And I just want you to critique this interview, if you can. This is the Phil Murphy. I'll
about
find which show it was.
decriminalizing illegal crossings, ending cash bail, child gender reassignment surgery being paid for in prison. I mean, what are your raising the corporate tax rate? What are your favorite proposals from Kamala Harris that make you like her so much? Which of
Joe,
those
for a Jersey guy, you sound like you're on the Trump campaign, for crying out loud.
And he really didn't have, I was hoping there was a longer clip there, but he really didn't have much of an explanation to anything that he said. In fact, some people said they thought that Governor Murphy actually sounded drunk in this clip. I'm not saying that he was.
He is Irish, so.
But apparently that performance was viewed as somewhat lackluster. Any reaction to that, Fred?
Well, I like that these are the issues that there is an issue of cutting off like a child's penis or jaywalking. It's like, I don't think they go together. Why is jaywalking an issue? Is anyone in jail for jaywalking right now?
No, not a person.
So
That's
why
crazy.
why would you address it? It's like saying we're going after people who put gum on the sidewalk. We're gonna have a task force. I don't know.
I kind of wish we would go after those people. Those are people that you end up cursing every time you ruin your shoes.
This podcast is supported by Progressive, a leader in RV insurance. RVs are for sharing adventures with family, friends, and even your pets. So if you bring your cats and dogs along for the ride, you'll want Progressive RV Insurance. They protect your cats and dogs like family by offering up to $1,000 in optional coverage for vet bills in case of an RV accident, making it a great companion for the responsible pet owner who loves to travel. See Progressive's other benefits and more when you quote RV Insurance at Progressive.com today. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Pet injuries and additional coverage and subject to policy terms.
Last week was our first playoff game, and my plaque psoriasis was so itchy under all my gear. Sometimes just thinking about scratching could take me out of the moment. And then my doctor told me I could get clearer skin with a pill called Otezla.
Otezla apremilast is a prescription medicine used to treat adult patients with plaque psoriasis for whom phototherapy or systemic therapy is appropriate. Otezla can help you get clearer skin after just 4 months.
Okay, ready for the next game. Talking to my doctor about a pill was a total game changer.
Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. Live in the moment. Ask your doctor about Otezla. Call 1-844-4-OTEZLA or visit Otezla.com for prescribing info about cost, and more.
Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Right now, get a free select tool when you buy the Craftsman V20 2-pack battery kit. Whether it's the backyard, the bathroom, or beyond, Craftsman has the tools to help you power through and get the project done right. Because DIYing is unpredictable, but your tools shouldn't be. Shop Craftsman at Lowe's today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Feel like you're stuck in career limbo? Clock in, clock out, repeat. No growth, no new opportunities. It's time to break out and break into tech. With CBT Nuggets, you can start building the IT skills that companies are hiring for right now. We make training fast, simple, and practical. From networking to cybersecurity, you'll get short, easy-to-watch videos and hands-on virtual labs so you can build real-world skills without expensive gear or complicated setups. For just $59 a month, you get unlimited access to our full training library. That includes certifications, skill-based learning, and practice exams, a $100 value included free. Learn anytime, anywhere, and get job ready on your terms. Thousands have used CBT Nuggets to launch new careers, and you can too. Right now, CBT Nuggets is offering a free trial. Easily find the training you need and test it out with no commitment. Start your 7-day free trial now at cbtnuggets.com. Don't wait. A better job is just a few clicks away.
All right. Have you heard about what happened with Tucker Carlson?
No.
Okay. Tucker Carlson apparently the headline is that he claimed that he was attacked by a demon. He said that he was physically mauled by a demon a year and a half ago that left him, he said this on his YouTube channel Thursday. I'll let Tucker speak for himself with this demon attack.
In my bed at night, and I got attacked while I was asleep with my wife and 4 dogs in the bed and mauled. Physically mauled.
In a spiritual attack by a demon?
Yeah, by a demon. Or by something unseen that left.
Is that right?
Claw marks on my sides, on my...
So it left physical marks?
Oh, they're still there. Yeah. A year and a half ago.
Was your wife terrified? I know you were.
I wasn't. I was totally confused. I woke up and couldn't breathe, and I thought I was going to suffocate, and I walked around outside, and then I walked in, and my wife and dogs had not woken up, and they're very light sleepers. And then I had these terrible pains on my rib cage and on my shoulder, and I was just in my boxer shorts, and I went and flipped on the light in the bathroom, and I had 4 claw marks on either side underneath my arms and on my left shoulder, and they're bleeding.
Wait, they were bleeding?
They're bleeding, yeah. No, they're actual claw marks. And I sleep on my side, so I wasn't clawing myself. I don't have long nails. And they didn't fit my hands anyway. But yeah, that happened.
Fred, what is the verdict? Do you think this was a demon?
I would have to look into where he's been lately. Like, guy comes home from Vegas and there's scratch marks all over his chest and your wife sees it. I was attacked by a demon, I tell you. It wasn't a long-nailed prostitute at 4 a.m, I swear. So I would have to look into that. Plus, you're sleeping with 4 dogs. What are the odds of not being scratched?
Well, that's fair. All right, so you're going to launch your own investigation into this.
I'm saying it's not true.
Okay.
He went to Vegas, and it got rough. It got rough out there.
All right, let me ask you about this. Speaking of getting rough, I mentioned this a little earlier, but I'm eager to get your take. There have now been arrests made after World Series celebrations in Los Angeles. These got pretty raucous. There was a bus burned. There was businesses that were burglarized. They also saw wild celebrations out in L.A. 4 years ago when they won the World Series, but apparently this is a bit worse. Any surprise here, Fred?
I seen the footage, and a lot of it was like 7-Elevens and stuff because they were open late. And some of the 7-Elevens, they put plywood on the front,
right?
Because they thought that this was going to happen. And being in construction a long time, the plywood is worth more than the things that were in the 7-Eleven. They should have just took the plywood. And plus, if you go to jail, there's a pecking order. You're in jail and you say, what are you in for? Murder, armed robbery. What are you in for? I stole 2 Slim Jims and a Slurpee. You're not on the top of that pecking order.
By the way, I just got an SMS text message from a listener about that Phil Murphy interview. Apparently, that was on CNBC's Squawk Box, and the interviewer was Joe Kiernan. And apparently, Governor Murphy not only could not answer any of the questions, but he actually, according to this very reasonable observer, did look like he was drunk. So
did they catch him off guard?
I don't.
Like sometimes people call you up and it's Friday at night and you're like, yeah, you can't. If you schedule it and he's drunk, it's different than just dropping in on it. I'm taking his back on it. If it's Friday night and you're calling your Irish friend, let's not be shocked that he's had a few drinks.
As somebody that's drunk 40% of the weekend anyway, I want to side with him on this one as well.
Me too.
All right. Man allegedly pummels sleeping United Airlines passenger in bloody mid-flight attack. Really interesting. United Airlines aircraft landing at London Heathrow Airport in England, and a man's accused of viciously attacking a sleeping passenger. Now, I take this very personally because this is my favorite thing to do on airplanes is sleep.
People.
Sleep. I would be the guy getting pummeled. Your reaction, Fred?
I have a sneaky suspicion that this guy who got pummeled deserved it.
Well, he was just sleeping.
Yeah, but that never happens. I think this is one of these rare cases where, like, 5 years ago, the guy said, if I ever see that guy again, I don't care where I am, I'm going to kick his ass. And I think he went to the bathroom, came back and went, oh, my God, that's him. And he just pummeled him.
By the way, I misspoke. It was not to London Heathrow Airport. The assault occurred on a flight from San Francisco to Virginia. And authorities said that about 2 hours into the flight, Everett Chad Nelson left his seat at 35F and went to the bathroom at the front of the plane. And on his way back to his seat, I don't mean to laugh, but now I'm just picturing the reaction that you put in my brain now. Nelson stopped at seat 12F and without notice,
he pummeled him.
I can't stop laughing about this poor guy being assaulted in his sleep.
Bob, is that you? Bam, bam, bam. That's what I think. This is the rare. He got what was coming to him. Also, he's in 35. There's a bathroom in the back. He's towards the back. He went to the front and he pummeled 12F. He must have seen him. He must have had an inkling that looks like Bob.
So, without notice, he began physically attacking the sleeping male passenger by punching him repeatedly in the face and head until blood was drawn. They say the victim, who was not identified in the court documents, woke up screaming. So, during the alleged 1-minute attack, blood spattered on Nelson's coat, the seat, the wall, and the window.
That's a good pummeling.
I'll say in a minute.
He's thorough. We're going to blame him for being thorough.
The victim had bruising on his eyes and a gash on his nose. He was treated by a doctor on the flight. Authorities said a fellow passenger intervened and monitored Nelson at a seat near the front of the plane until it landed in Virginia. Thankfully, no other incidents occurred on the flight.
Definitely had it coming to him. That's why his name isn't mentioned. This is going to come out. That this guy was like, I've been looking for this guy for 8 years. What a godsend.
That's like that Seinfeld where Kramer thinks he sees Grossbard on the
He's seen
airplane.
Grossbard, who owed him money from college.
Right.
This is definitely what this case is.
All right. We were talking about Tony Hinchcliffe earlier, the comedian that made the joke about Puerto Rico. Well, apparently now Aubrey Plaza has some choice words for Tony Hinchcliffe. The star of Agatha All Along, which I have to say I'm not familiar with, but it's apparently a pretty big thing, responded to the comedian's floating island of garbage comments at the Trump rally and said, quote, I just wanted to very quickly respond to the racist joke that was made at the Trump rally about Puerto Rico, where most of my family is from. Thankfully, my sweet Abulita wasn't here to hear that disgusting remark.
What's an Abulita? Is that a mule?
I think it's a...
Is that the Carmelita?
She continued, but if she was alive today, I think she would say, Tony Hinchcliffe, go blank yourself. Oh. And yes, the Wall Street Journal can quote me on that.
First of all, this girl is in this show. I guess it's Netflix, and she does live sex scenes. I think
really. What show is this again?
Yeah, the one that you mentioned. There.
My goodness.
One of them
Agatha
is
All Along. Okay.
Agatha One of them, she does like a masturbation scene. Now I think your old Carmelita, Mamacita, would be a lot more outraged at your masturbation scene than a joke that happened when you weren't there. Are we getting now outrage at jokes that you weren't even there?
Apparently we are. Okay.
Could you imagine you're at a party and Fred Rubino's there? How he got there, no one knows. He wasn't invited, but he's there. And across the room, I say a horribly tasteless joke. And then the next day they go, did you see Frank Morano was at that party where Freddie was telling those racist jokes? And it's not fair just because you're in the room.
I feel like I have been blamed for stuff like that before. All right. This is big, literally. At 7 feet 9 inches, Florida Gators freshman Olivier Rioux will become the tallest player in college basketball history. By the time he turned 8 years old, Olivier Rioux was already towering over his classmates. Then in the 6th grade, he was 6 feet 11. When he reached a height of 7 feet 5 inches at the age of 15, this was one of the few Guinness records that David Rush doesn't have. The Guinness World Records named him the tallest teenager on the planet. And now the 18-year-old who stands at 7'9" is hoping to grow his skills on the basketball court and potentially eventually make it to the NBA.
I think the average height now of the NBA gets bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah, exactly.
Soon the average is going to be 7 feet. Soon everybody who's 7 feet is going to be just be in the NBA. And that's when the game's going to have to change. We're going to have to change the rules like they did in baseball and football. Change the rules.
What, we're going to make the hoop higher?
No, lower.
Lower.
They're tall. 3 foot. You know how hard it is for a 7-foot guy to get it in the 3 foot? That'll be an interesting thing. Lower the hoops now. The taller these people get, the lower it should be.
Lastly, I got to ask you about this. Obviously we all know the Trevi Fountain in Rome. I've been there. Have you been there?
I have not, but I hear it's quite fetching.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. I mean, it's also
it's wet. There's coins. I get it.
It's a fountain.
Yeah.
I mean, I was glad to have been there. I threw a coin backwards, made a wish.
There you go. Obviously, it didn't come true.
But it's a fountain. Okay.
Yeah.
So tourists in Rome are apparently being targeted in a street crime wave with muggings and pickpocketing doubling in a year. Restaurateurs and bar owners in the Eternal City say their clients are being besieged by gangs of thieves and bag snatchers. They fear robberies are going to increase as more visitors arrive next year for the Vatican Jubilee, which is a rare event in the Catholic Church, which will bring pilgrims to the Italian capital. Are you concerned about this, Fred, as someone who's of Italian descent?
Well, I would say as an Italian American, we always excel at anything we do. So, now that there's a lot of crime in Rome, it's just because we're good at what we do. That's it. Now, I don't know if it's that these gangs are that good or that the Italian police are that bad. You can't stop hundreds of muggings a day at the fountain? Put a guy at the fountain.
It does seem like it should be a pretty easily solved policing problem.
A little bit. Let's cut down a little bit on it. Let's try that.
All right. Fred Rubino, you want to stick around? We're going to do 15 seconds of fame. You
Sure.
can hear what the callers have to say. You can give us your opinion on Fred, for that matter. 646-720-0635. That's 1-646-720-0635. This is The Other Side of Midnight. Straight ahead.
The Other Side of Midnight. It's The Other Side of Midnight with Frank Morano.
It's the other side of midnight. It's the Frank Morano Show. We'll be talking about aliens.
The late, great Andy B. with his anthem to The Other Side of Midnight. We're going to do 15 seconds of fame in a moment. We have one open line. If you want it, it's yours at 1-646-720-0635, where you can sound off for 15 seconds. Fred Rubino has been my guest in studio for the last hour. Fred, does your phone do this? Do you have an iPhone?
I do. It's right here.
So I don't have an iPhone. I'm the last guy.
What do you
and
have?
I have an Android. I have a Google Pixel. A Google Pixel. It's driving our owner crazy. I mean, apparently there are all these iPhone news articles that only the iPhone people get. So I think I may have to take the plunge and get an iPhone. But my question is, I don't know if your phone does this, because mine does. For the last day or so, because I guess it's unseasonably warm and it has stopped raining where we are, my phone has been saying red flag fire weather warning. Does your phone say this?
There are warnings that you could have on them that you have to disconnect, because I used to get every warning that there was.
But I don't get a lot of warnings. I get, there's a blizzard, there's an earthquake, there's a tornado, and here apparently fire weather warning.
Are you like an arsonist? Maybe you're on a registry.
No, but I'm wondering, I think did you get this, Matt Blaze?
No, I didn't get that. And
Are you iPhone?
No, I don't have an iPhone either.
So
I have
why
an
am I
Android.
getting this? Maybe I am.
It's some setting that you must have.
Elias, did you get this?
I have an iPhone, so no.
Okay, all right. I'm the only
I
one
get like missing kids and missing.
I get those.
The silver alert. Some old guy is missing, and I have to find him now. All of a sudden, it's my job.
We let Fred start looking for this missing old person. For the rest of you, you get 15 seconds.
The Other Side of Midnight. This is 15 Seconds of Fame.
Mike.
Morning, Frank. I just got this warning on my iPhone. The robots are coming. The robots are coming. You've been warned.
Rob. Jay.
Frank, there's never any tricks on your show. It's always a treat.
Well, that's nice. Pete.
Fred and Fred and
Frank.
God, you guys are great. Frank, I know you guys are great, man. I'm enjoying it. Hey, Fred,
I could tell.
Shout out to you, buddy. I love you on Staten Island and your fellow Staten Island. You're a great guy.
Well, it's not true, though, is it? Right?
No.
Larry.
They have a dirty secret they're hiding in Colorado. Jen Griswold cannot keep a straight face when she goes on the air, and Tita Peters was the scapegoat. 9 years to try to show the truth about the 2020.
David.
Yes, I'll be voting in person for the first time in 10 years for the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Vinny.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is your daily reminder that your government hates you.
Mike.
Yes, that joke about the garbage, it refers to the garbage problem in Puerto Rico. Everybody read about it. They got a big problem with recycling and getting rid of garbage. No more landfills. That's
Brian.
Yeah, good morning, Frank. David from the Bronx hates Trump and his policies so much. I think he should house a couple migrants. And I can't wait till he wins. I want to see if he could be any more whiny.
Well, that's what we want. We want to be voting for people out of spite for other callers that we don't like. E. Frank.
Yes, Frank, I'm glad to say that outgoing President Joe Biden will be celebrating his last All Saints Day with me, myself, and I.
I am not surprised to hear that President Biden is now at the point that he's spending holidays with E. Frank. So be it. Okay. Fred, thank you. Check him out, fredrubino.com. Back on Monday with our pre-election spectacular. Frank Morano, good day.